Joining us to untangle all of this is talkSPORT's Formula One correspondent, Fern Buckley. Hi, Fern. Good to see you on the show again. Blimey, this story
Thank you
goes
so
on
much
and
for having
on,
me.
doesn't it? Goes on and on and on.
It really does. We're not even in the second race of the season, a long calendar ahead. And look at what's happening. It's just, yeah, a really troublesome time for the sport.
I think what lots of people might not understand is how it could be that Christian Horner is accused of coercive behaviour, bombarding an employee with text messages, and most people have now read them because they've all been released on the online. And then the woman herself gets dismissed and he doesn't. I think that's a bit of a confusing one. Maybe you can have a bash at explaining that.
Well, we've got to say, firstly, those WhatsApp pictures and messages that people might have seen online, they haven't been authenticated. So we don't know if these are necessarily true. My biggest problem is right now with the whole situation is that Red Bull, they very much take a stance of not saying anything, which can cause a lot of speculation. So we've had a conversation earlier on this week, wondering whether or not Jerry and Christian Horner were going to stay together. We've started speculating about his life. And that becomes a bit unfair, considering he had been rid of this situation. They dismissed the claims completely. But now, fast forward only a couple of days, we're in a situation where this lady has been dismissed by the team, and you start to question, why was this done now? What was the situation? What are they trying to insinuate as well? Are Red Bull trying to do this to back up Christian Horner? Are they trying to suggest that maybe, I mean, there's reports that she was kind of terminated or dismissed for being dishonest at the moment? Are they trying to suggest that there was something deeper to this than we know? It is just turning into a massive mess, and I'm afraid that fans are going to look at Red Bull very differently after this.
And also you wonder, one minute you've got Jerry Halliwell Horner passionately kissing her husband in full view of the public and attending paparazzi in order to make what people consider to be a very public statement. And the next minute you've got Christian Horner just a couple of minutes ago giving a press conference saying, my family have had enough of this and it's time my family were left out of this. And it's kind of like, mate, who brought your family into it?
I know. When you're married to a Spice Girl, there's always going to be that added element of, attraction. People are going to want to know the inner workings of their lives. So that is just the case. And being a team principal of a major Formula One team, as people want to know, don't they? But I feel very, very upset for where we are in Formula One right now, especially a day before International Women's Day. I do question whether or not this female was strong enough to go to her team boss and to the bosses at Red Bull and say that there was a problem. She wanted to escalate it and take it further. And now she's in a position where she's been suspended. I just think there's been such a lack of clarity from Red Bull. If they were to have been a little bit more open with the situation, we could have understood it and we wouldn't be speculating about whether or not Christian's in the wrong or she's in the wrong. And now I just don't know where we go from here.
I mean, the other thing, of course, now we have Max Verstappen wading in himself in support of his own father, who got thoroughly involved. That's an interesting one in terms of the dynamic, isn't it?
I couldn't believe that when I read that just about 12 hours ago. We knew Jos Verstappen was saying that he didn't think Christian Horner could stick around and had his own opinions. And then Max Verstappen, the world champion, came out and said, my dad doesn't lie, of all things. So then you're thinking, what does he know that we don't know? He did reiterate the fact that he only cares about racing. He doesn't care what side he's on. But the fact that he made that kind of statement, there is so much going on right now in this Red Bull team. I wonder what's going to happen at the race this weekend. Is it going to be back to racing as normal? We're going to see Max fly around the circuit like we normally do? Or are we going to see a crack start to form within the team? And who knows, maybe potentially Max leaving for another team, which again is another thing going around at the moment.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us.